They've done it. Intel has finally made a truly excellent laptop chip. It took them like 5 or 6 years, but it's finally here, and I think we'll be pleasantly surprised at how good this chip is. So about 8 or 9 months ago, Intel launched their Series 1 Core Ultra devices. Those things were already a big step up from their previous generation, but those were like good, very good at best. But it's a whole new level. So the launch device that they've gone with to showcase their new chip is the Asus Zenbook S14. This is a very thin, very light 14-inch device, and this product right here is housing the top tier chip, like the highest end chip that they have for the Series 2. It fits in here, it's cooled remarkably well for this device, and let's get into it. So this chip and this laptop, it's all about 3 things really: energy efficiency, like extreme energy efficiency, good CPU performance, and really good GPU performance. This kind of review unit launch device came with a 120 Hz OLED panel. Like, you don't come out with this type of screen unless it's pretty good for games. I'm just saying. So let's take a look at the chip. The chip in here is the Intel Core Ultra 9 288V. At the time of shooting this, I can only show you Intel's first-party benchmarks. So these are numbers that they got from their own testing, but there's a few things to note here. The single-core Cinebench performance looks decent, but when it comes to multi-core performance, it does well at low wattages, and it supposedly matches Apple's M3 product, but it does start to lose ground at higher wattages. So if you'll notice, the new AMD chip, as well as the previous generation of Core Ultra products, those two devices seem to perform better at that higher wattage state. It's in that low wattage or low power consumption area that this new chip really excels. And from the perspective of a laptop reviewer, that's the thing that really matters. Like, really good regular laptop performance with awesome battery life. That's what the vast majority of laptop users are looking for. Intel actually claims this to be the most energy efficient x86 chip on the planet, and that's what it seems to be, at least based on their first-party benchmark so far. The other thing of interest is that the GPU and the gaming performance on this chip is surprisingly good for integrated graphics. So these are running the new Intel Arc 140V GPUs, and from the looks of their early benchmarks, this is the most powerful integrated GPU on the market. It supposedly has better gaming performance than even the new AMD chips that came out a few weeks ago. Now, it's also interesting that if you look at their benchmarks, they did it at medium graphics settings. Now, typically when I do any kind of gaming benchmarks on thin and light devices, I always go with the lowest graphics settings. I think that's just how people would typically play games on a thin and light device. But they went with medium, maybe because they're just so confident that, you know, the GPU performs well, but it could also be that that's where the biggest gains are, like at that medium setting. Maybe at the lower settings, it's not as impressive, but regardless, very impressive GPU, and I will say that from the handful of games that I've tested, those numbers are accurate. Now, the biggest claim that Intel's making with these new chips is in regards to battery life. They are claiming some really monster numbers. Now, in the past, Intel's slides have been questionable at best. I would take those numbers with a grain of salt. I think we'll have to see some proper reviews come in, but just from my very limited testing on this device, it's very immediately apparent how energy efficient these systems are. Like, you can just run them very quietly, no fan noise, with very long, just kind of idle state battery life. That was immediately apparent after the first day of use. But if you look at the advertised battery life from Asus and other manufacturers, it's pretty clear that these new Intel chips will give you big battery gains over the previous generations of product. Now, if you take a look at the inside, the 72 watt-hour battery takes up a very large portion of the inside. Like, I don't think they could have made it much bigger. So this is a very large battery for a 14-inch device. You'll notice that the Wi-Fi 7 card is baked on. The RAM, like all Intel Core Ultra products, is also baked on. The NVMe, full-size NVMe, is removable. The speakers sound good. There's 4 of them, but we'll wait for retail drivers before we draw any kind of conclusions on them. Now, the display uses a very nice looking 14-inch OLED panel, and this is a very bright, color accurate, and very fast screen, right? 120 Hertz, but I'm surprised, I guess kind of impressed that they went with this panel on the review units. Like, if you're trying to showcase a chip with really long battery life, I would have thought they would have gone with an IPS panel, like just to extend battery life even more, but it's an OLED panel, and it does look really nice. And there's also this geometric grill that you see at the bottom of the screen, like right at the top of the keyboard deck. And this is a design element that we've seen on the Zenbook S16 as well. It's new for this year. It's like these grill holes with even tinier holes on the inside, and it just adds this nice design element to the top of the keyboard. It's got a nice keyboard, types pretty fast, and it's got nice white backlighting. This gets pretty bright, and I think it's just like a very clean looking keyboard deck with a nice glass trackpad. And then the top panel has this ceramic polymer on it. I've shown this in other Asus devices, but they call it ceraluminum. I think it's just like a ceramic polymer on top of an aluminum top panel. And it gives it this like stone-like texture, like a polished stone finish. I really like this. Like, this has grown on me more and more the more I use this kind of device. But it's a very nice looking premium feel to it. The ports, so there's two USB-C, Thunderbolt 4 on the left side with an HDMI, and then on the right, there's just the single USB-A. I do wish that there was a USB-C on both sides. Like, I do think it's one of those things that when it comes to charging, like some people like to come from the left or the right, and it just now forces you to have to come from the left, which is annoying for certain desk configurations. But the overall product, it is so much more energy efficient and so much more GPU capable than what I would have expected. Like, I had fairly high hopes, and this exceeds it. This is a very, very nice chip from Intel packaged into a really nice laptop from Asus. Okay, there you have it. This is their Zenbook S14 with the new Intel Core Ultra Series 2 chip. Now, if you'll notice, this whole video never talks about any AI capabilities or AI features of this new chip or laptop. And it's because I don't think we're at that point where AI really matters for most people. Despite all the marketing and what Intel and basically every chip manufacturer is trying to stuff down our throats, there's just not a lot of products and or services that really lean on NPUs that people actually want to use on a daily basis. So I think if you're looking at this product, I would just, for most people, you can ignore all of the AI stuff and just focus on what is actually useful and good about this thing. Very energy efficient, awesome GPU, really good CPU, and that's, to me, all that really matters when it comes to a laptop right now. Okay, there you have it. Awesome chip, really good laptop. Hope you guys liked this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. See you guys next time.